Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Okay, I'm going to make possibly a controversial statement. I like the Simpsons hipster episode. More than that, I actually think it's genius, hilarious, and it's one of my favourite modern episodes to watch. So allow me to delve deeper. Here's my review of the day the Earth stood cool. Alright, so something which plagues modern Simpsons or any long-lasting cartoon is padding. Extra stuffing to fill in an episode's runtime with a very flimsy story thrown in there. Well, this episode does the opposite. The theme of this episode is established with cruel comedy within the first 2 minutes. Homer is mistaken for a grandfather, which leads to him questioning himself and how he is perceived by others, particularly a younger crowd. Which is already an interesting character journey for someone like Homer. And I think the introduction of the donut company is a good way to lure him to someone like Terrence, who is very clearly interested in independent food companies such as his own. I love the dynamic between these two. And for Terrence's part, I really think he is being honest in his friendship with Homer, who clearly doesn't understand his culture or hobbies.
No, I'm young person cool bald, not old person sad bald.
This is fine though, as there is such a sweet sincerity to Homer's budding friendship here. He so clearly just wants to be an equal despite not fitting into this crowd in the slightest. The groundwork is excellently done and I'm so glad they stuck to this plot point. It so easily could have swayed off into yet another marriage crisis episode between Homer and Marge, as she's noticeably uncomfortable by the new family and dislikes Homer's awe for them. There's just enough conflict here for it to work. To me, Marge's unease at it all further sells the point that The Simpsons doesn't mesh with this sort of lifestyle. Which is how the conflict comes to a head. So Terrence has a son called T-Rex, a very pretentious and misguided kid, who at first glance just seems like a dick whose only goal is to grate on people, but I think that's the point. They established during the first interaction how much of a contrast he is to Bart. Which is needed. I can't imagine him standing up for Homer the way he did if he and T-Rex had got on from the beginning.
Dino cool. Oh, I get it. A T-Rex for the T-Rex. How long did it take him to think of that one?
So, T-Rex states that Homer is a poser and mocks the gift that he spent time making him. And that was enough to push Bart over the edge. The pair get into a brawl and go their separate ways. This being the point of contention was great. In order to really sell the point they were going for, Homer could not realise that he was being mocked. And I love them for it. Don't get me wrong, it's harsh, but it's such good satire. My personal reading is that this plot takes it a step further. As you can tell, this conflict outside of character interaction is old-fashioned values versus innovation. The Simpsons, by modern standards, fit an old-fashioned family value a lot more than most adult cartoons do now. So, I've always interpreted this episode with a slight meta edge to it. Are The Simpsons really dated? Should they move aside and let cartoons like BoJack Horseman or Rick and Morty take its place? I would argue that's what the last third of the episode is trying to show. Homer and Marge's genuine fear at this change seems to add some validity to this point, in my opinion. Although I do like how this plot is wrapped up. T-Rex openly admitting he doesn't know why he is the way he is challenges the established innovation. His friendship with Bart and acceptance of mainstream fun is an organic way to bring everything back to the status quo. The idea that Springfield is done and played out is a great piece of ironic final satire for the plot. The fact this episode wraps so closely between Bart and T-Rex is a nice parallel to how the episode began. Homer wanting an independent donut and T-Rex wanting a burger from a fast food chain. It just feels so tightly written. Look, I can appreciate that not a lot of people will like the ideas and themes explored within this episode, and that's totally fair. But to me, this one just does so much. It feels like a funny, ironic exploration of who the Simpsons are now, how times have changed and cultural influence has drifted. The Simpsons is now at 30 plus seasons, so clearly the formula still works. I just think they tried harder with this episode, and in my opinion, they pulled it off. If you haven't seen it recently, then grab your Dino Cool jacket and watch it. That's just what I think. I would love to hear what your thoughts are in comments down below. If you liked what you saw, could you please hit that like button and subscribe? It will help my channel continue to grow. Stay close as I try to post new content as often as possible.